Ranbir did not expect that Mahi would stop him from coming to her. Mahi stopping him was making Ranbir angry. Ranbir pulled Mahi towards himself, and she came straight to his chest and collided. Seeing anger in Ranbir's eyes, Mahi began to panic. Once again she tried to get away from Ranbir, so Ranbir grabbed her hair and brought her face closer to him. And looking into his eyes, he said in a deep voice, "Soon you are going to get married to me. Then I will get the right to touch you completely. By the way, I have already got this right legally." Then he said with a devil's smile, "Because legally, you are my wife. If I wanted, I would have already taken the right to be my husband. And you couldn't do anything even then. Wife." Saying this, Ranbir deliberately emphasized the word wife. Mahi again began to see the same passion in Ranbir's eyes, which often made her shiver. Then Ranbir put his thumb on her lips and said in a sweet voice, "You know Mahi, your soft lips often seduce me." Then kissing her neck, Ranbir said, "And you're sent out of control me. Still you want me to stay away from you." Then he came close to Mahi's lips and said in his seductive tone, "I have gone crazy for you." Saying this, he put his lips on Mahi's lips. Mahi was still fond of Ranbir's words. But by kissing Ranbir so forcefully, he came back to his senses. And again, she put her hand on his chest and started keeping him away from herself. But Ranbir's grip was so strong that Mahi herself was not able to move. Mahi was having trouble breathing. But Ranbir was not getting away from her. Mahi angrily bit Ranbir's lower lip, by which Ranbir left Mahi's lips. But he was still not away from Mahi. Ranbir rubbed his thumb on his lips. So there was blood coming out of his lips because of the bite. Ranbir wiped his blood with his thumb and said with a laugh, "Baby, sometimes you start behaving like a wild cat. But I like it." Mahi said a little angrily, "Doesn't my will mean anything to you? What do I want?" Ranbir also replied with an attitude, "No, it always means what I want. And I get what I want. Just like I want you right now." Hearing Ranbir's words, tears came into Mahi's eyes. And she started looking into Ranbir's eyes. Mahi wanted to ask Ranbir that does he love her? Or is it just his stubbornness and passion for her, which he just wants to get, just to fulfill his stubbornness? But that's when Ruhi came there. Ruhi said with a laugh, "Mahi, let's go quickly. Your family is calling you downstairs." Mahi's back was towards Ruhi, so she couldn't see Mahi's tears. Ranbir told Ruhi, "You go, Mahi is coming." Ruhi heard Ranbir's words and left. Mahi wiped her tears and turned to go. Ranbir pulled her once again and hugged her. Mahi did not object this time. But yes, she didn't even hug Ranbir. She had her hands down. Ranbir filled Mahi's face in his hands and looked into her eyes and said, "I am like this, Mahi. And you have to accept me like this. So the sooner you get used to all this, it will be better for you." But in Mahi's eyes, she could only see pain and wetness. Mahi took Ranbir away from herself and left from there. Mahi ran out of the room. First she relaxed herself a little. Then she went to the room where Priya, Tina and Ruhi, all three were waiting for her. Seeing Mahi, all three came to her. Before she could ask Mahi anything, Mahi said, "We should go downstairs. Everyone is waiting for us." After hearing Mahi, Ruhi said, "Yes, let's go quickly. They have been calling us for a long time." All the guests were almost gone. Mahi's family said goodbye to Kapoor's family, and all left for their home. Mahi was sitting in the car. She was looking out of the window. Ranbir's thoughts were still in her mind. She was trying to show herself normal from outside, but she was very sad from inside. The next day of the engagement, Ranbir left for abroad for business. He was going to come back 4 to 5 days before the wedding. Mahi and Ranbir's house. Everyone was busy preparing for the wedding. Because the wedding date was 10 days later. The days were less and the work was more. The wedding was going to take place from Maheshji's house. Maheshji's house was also very spacious. So the wedding arrangements could be done well there. The next 4 to 5 days was spent in shopping. Mahi was showing herself very happy from outside. But she was very restless from inside. She was happy for her father. Because he was very happy with this wedding. In his happiness, she forgot the sadness inside. Mahi was showing herself very happy from outside. She had not faced Ranbir for the last few days. And she was not getting much time to think about the wedding shopping. So she was trying to forget Ranbir's torture in all this. There, in a 7-star hotel in New York. Ranbir was sitting on the sofa in a big room. And holding a glass of wine in his hand. He was looking at the city from a big glass wall. His room was on the top floor of the building. Because of this, the city was looking very beautiful from there. He picked up his phone from the table in front of him. And while scrolling his screen, he started looking at someone's pic. That pic was of Mahi. While looking at Mahi's pic, a smile came on his face. But after a while, he put his phone back there. And he put his head on the back of the sofa and closed his eyes. He was not able to sleep for many days. Since he came to New York, he was constantly busy with work. And today, he got some time to rest. But for some time, he did not even meet Mahi. Because of this, he was very restless. And whenever he used to think about Mahi, he used to see that sad face of Mahi. His tears were making him restless from inside. He called someone and said, "Book my flight ticket for tomorrow morning. I am going back to India tomorrow." Saying this, he hung up the phone. It was 10 o'clock in the night. Even today, Mahi had gone for shopping with Sarika. Today, she was completely tired of running all day. Before going to sleep, Mahi went to the washroom to take a shower. After some time, she came out with the shower. Because of taking a hot shower, her fair complexion became a little pink. She came near the dressing table and started drying her hair with a dryer. But as soon as she looked in the mirror, her eyes widened. She suddenly turned around and said, "You? What are you doing here?" On the bed, Ranbir was sitting completely relaxed and was staring at Mahi from top to bottom. He was wearing a black pant and black shirt at that time. He was looking very hot because the 2 buttons on the shirt were open. Looking at Ranbir like this, Mahi realized that he was wearing a crop top and shorts at that time. And Ranbir's eyes were staring at his legs at that time. She quickly ran to the washroom. But Ranbir also understood what Mahi was going to do. Before Mahi could go to the washroom, Ranbir quickly grabbed Mahi by the waist and picked her up. Mahi said while moving her legs in the air, leave me, put me down." But Ranbir was not going to listen to her. He threw Mahi straight on the bed. Before Mahi could get up from the bed, Ranbir came on top of her and grabbed both her hands tightly. Mahi said to him angrily, "Aren't you ashamed?" Ranbir looked into her eyes and said, "No." He was now seductively patting Mahi's back, which made Mahi feel a different feeling. He said while trying to remove Ranbir from himself, "Don't do this, this is not right." Ranbir said while kissing Mahi's neck, "Why? Why is it not right? Anyway, we are going to get married in a few days and after that, a lot will happen between us." Hearing Ranbir's such words, Mahi's face turned red with shame. After so many days, Ranbir was feeling as if his restless heart had found peace. Now it was very difficult for him to stay away from Mahi. Ranbir held Mahi in his arms. At this time, Mahi's heart was beating very fast, which Ranbir was also feeling. Mahi also stopped opposing Ranbir because she knew that she would not be able to stop Ranbir. Ranbir was completely lost in Mahi. While kissing, his hands were caressing Mahi's hair. After a while, he moved away from Mahi. Mahi's lips were slightly swollen, which was once again attracting Ranbir towards itself. Ranbir was still doing as he always did, which was becoming difficult for Mahi to tolerate. Tears started flowing from Mahi's eyes and she hugged the bedsheet in her palms. She slowly said in her weeping voice, "Ranbir, please stop." With Mahi's voice, Ranbir came to his senses and he saw Mahi's face. Her eyes had turned red due to crying. He turned around and took Mahi on himself and started stroking her head. Mahi also started crying from his chest. Ranbir said to his head, "Hey, why are you crying?" Mahi said, "You always do what you want. You don't listen to me. Sometimes I am very scared of you." Then she raised her head and looked at Ranbir and said, "Do you even know how ashamed I am when you do this to me? My heart beats so fast that I feel like I will get a heart attack. But you still don't stop. You are stronger than me. That doesn't mean that you will always do what you want." Mahi was saying all this while crying, as if she was taking out all her heart today. But Ranbir was finding Mahi cute like a small child, as if a child is complaining while crying. Hearing Mahi's words, Ranbir took her face in his hands with love and said, "Relax, I won't move ahead of this until you are ready for it. Are you happy now?" Mahi also extended her hand and said, "First promise me." Ranbir said, "What is the need for this?" I said, "Isn't this enough?" Mahi didn't want to take any risk, so she said, "Yes, it is necessary." Ranbir also smiled and held her hands and said, "Promise." Then Mahi gave him a cute warning and said, "If you break the promise, you will be sinned." Hearing Mahi's words, Ranbir laughed. He lied down next to Mahi and said, "Oh Mahi, where do you get such things from? Will Mahi's innocence change the devil Ranbir? Will Ranbir keep his promise?" To know more, keep listening to Oh Baby only on Love Pulse Diaries.